Have you ever stopped to think about how much power a simple no holds over your life? How many times have you heard, "You can't do that, it won't work," or "there's no way"? These words echo like barriers, whispering limitations and pushing dreams further away. But here's the truth most people miss. Those no's only hold power if you let them. They're just words, empty unless you decide to believe in them. Think about the times you've been told, "You can't." Maybe it was a teacher doubting your abilities, a family member discouraging your ambitions, or even your own inner voice casting shadows of doubt. The phrase "you can't" often comes wrapped in the fear of failure, not yours but someone else's. People project their own insecurities, saying you can't do something because they can't imagine doing it themselves. But history is proof that "can't" is just a word. Look at Thomas Edison. He was told he couldn't invent the light bulb. He failed 1,000 times, but every failure was a step closer to success. Imagine if he had stopped at the first no. The same goes for Amelia Earhart, the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic. People said she couldn't, that it wasn't her place, but she didn't just prove them wrong. She made history. Can't is nothing more than a challenge in disguise. It's an opportunity for you to rewrite the rules, your rules. When someone says, "You can't," what they're really saying is, "I don't believe you can." But here's the secret. Their belief doesn't matter. Yours does. Now let's talk about the second big villain. It won't work. How many dreams have been killed before they even had a chance to grow because someone said those words? The problem with "it won't work" isn't the words themselves but how quickly we accept them. We hear "it won't work," and instead of asking why or how to make it work, we stop trying. Take Michael Jordan, for example. He was cut from his high school basketball team. They told him he wasn't good enough, that it wouldn't work for him to pursue the sport. Imagine if he had believed them. Imagine if he had walked away. But he didn't. He turned their "it won't work" into fuel, practicing harder, pushing further, proving everyone wrong. That's what separates those who succeed from those who give up. The willingness to keep going when everyone else stops. "It won't work" is not a statement of fact. It's a temporary perspective. The key is to shift your thinking. Instead of accepting defeat, ask yourself, what's another way? Sometimes the solution isn't obvious, and that's okay. The best ideas often come from the moments when things seem impossible. And then there's the final barrier, the one that feels the hardest to overcome. I don't have. How often have you thought, "I don't have the money, I don't have the time," or "I don't have the resources"? It's frustrating because it feels so real. But here's something to consider. Most of the world's greatest achievements came from people who started with nothing. When you don't have something, you're forced to innovate, to get creative, to think outside the box. It's in scarcity that greatness is born. Think about some of the biggest companies today. Many of them started in garages with no money, no fancy offices, no endless resources. What they did have was determination and the belief that they could turn "I don't have" into "I'll find a way." If you don't have the money, find a way to start small. If you don't have time, prioritize what truly matters. If you don't have support, believe in yourself enough to take the first step.